Hello, this is Greg Alson, Green Greg's. Come to you on the third day of June 2021. Time on deck, 21,400 hours Central Daylight Time. The world is getting unstable. Right now, there are two military ships from Iran heading to Venezuela. And I've reported on this kind of thing many times in the past, and this does give us a lot for which to be aghast. And on top of that, yesterday, two events occurred yesterday. And the same day we had Iran's largest military warship or military ship sink, and we had a major oil refinery fire near the capital of Iran, Tehran, all in the same day. And was this a going away shot from Bibi Netanyahu? Is this his saying bye-bye in his own way? Well, we shall talk about this and what does it mean for us? What are the ramifications? Guys, we live in a very unstable, tumultuous time. If you don't know you should be prepping, holy guac and smoke a mully, open your eyes. This is part of my eyes wide open, my head on the swivel series. Why not bring you these things? People criticize me for talking about these things, and they mostly focus on the topics. But for the by and far, the large fraction of what I'm trying to do is get across to you and your friends is that you need to prep, that you need to get ready for the times ahead. And I also cover a lot of topics about how we need to try to tamp down the tensions in the world. But most people don't take that as my message. That is my messages. And most people want to focus on all kind of other little aspects. You missed the point. You missed the point. I'm here one time. You need to prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. And you can work for it too. And I do have hope for these things. I think we can do things to fix them. So grab on your britches and the seatbelt or whatever you can. Hold on. We're going to talk about what this stuff means. And if you can't handle the heat in the kitchen, then run. Because it might get hot. But where are you going to run to? You going to stick your head in the sand? I hope not. The sand might get hot too. Sand has been known to turn the glass when certain things got set off. All right, guys. Let's hope that don't happen. But guys, we do live in serious times, and people don't want to, have normalcy bias and ignore it over and over. So, yeah, it might work for a while, but you know what? History is punctuated. Geologic history has a lot of boring gradualism of sand building up, but it's punctuated by major catastrophes. In human society, probably more so. Mother Nature tends to be more stable than we do. However, there are things that Mother Nature throws at us, which might be okay in Mother Nature's world, but in our technological civilization, such as a coronal mass ejection on the sun, not so much so. I cover those kind of things too. So to watch all the different things I cover, telling you how to grow your own food, how to eat from the weeds and trees, which are free. Subscribe to my channel and bang the notification bell and click all. And then you shall get many things like that. And my gardening videos never do so well for some strange reason. That's the number one thing you ought to watch because you should learn how to grow your own food. But since so many of you don't want to learn how to grow your own food, I have a special for you. You can get $200 off a 3 month supply. Just go to prepwithgreg.com. And if you are growing your own food, it's still a great deal for many reasons because you get stuff that you probably not going to be fixing yourself. But moreover, gardens fail sometimes. You have challenges. New insects. You get droughts, blights, different things that come along. There's just the whole aspect of the learning curve, which is always there. Even the old people are always learning in gardening because gardening medicine is a practice, my friends. So, but you can get better and better at it over time. Even master gardeners have their challenges, but it's really worthwhile to garden. But in all that said, still go to prepwithgreg.com and you get 25 year lasting food, 2,000 calories per day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, desserts and drinks that'll make you a winner. Check it out. $200 off a 3 month supply, which is 6 of these buckets, or you can get $50 off a 1 month supply, which is 2 of these buckets. It's freeze dried, lightweight, easy to carry, easy to store. Your kids can carry these for Pete's sake. Not like some of them I've seen where they're pushing a month supply across the threshold, having such a tough time doing it in some of the competitors' videos. This is good stuff. My Page Supply. You click the My Page Supply logo and get all of the kind of prepping supplies. And if you don't think you need to be prepping, then if you like gardening, continue to watch my channel. If you like worms, continue to watch my channel. But if you don't like prepping, gardening, worms, if you're not worried about the power grid failing or economy smashing, if you're not worried about these things, go off and watch cartoons for Pete's sake. Hey, all right, let's get into it. What is going on? Holy guac and smoking money, guys. The world is coming unglued. Let's share some articles here. Yeah, we got ships coming. Let's see, go over here, bang, we'll hit this article right here first. 2 Iranian ships heading to the Americas, posing potential provocation to the United States. Yeah, okay, so what's happening here? So we got these ships that are coming into the Atlantic. One's called the Makran, which was an oil tanker that got converted in some kind of a base, staging base. I guess they use it for various purposes from the military. And of course, they're also coming with a destroyer, it looks like, from the Iranian side. So what's the big deal about that? Well, it looks like there's some maybe some arm sales from Iran to Venezuela, but that's happened. What we've been concerned with, and you might remember me quoting Mr. Abrahamson challenging this under the Trump administration, and I'm sure the same kind of challenges are there, and this is being watched today by the Biden administration, is that they're really worried about missile components getting sent to Iran. That's been what they've been talking about. Now, guys, I reported on here for some time. One of my biggest concerns was that the United States has a soft underbelly to the south. All our missile warning systems are watching toward North Korea, China, and Russia to the north and west. We're not watching anything to our south, our soft underbelly. And with a unstable, politically left country in Venezuela, which is not fond of the United States and not even able to keep up with what's going on in their own country because they're unstable, a country in which Iran, North Korea, China, and Russia are all heavily involved. Cuba, anybody don't like the United States, seems to be heavily involved in Venezuela, trying to keep them going. The most oil-rich nation there is, and yet they can't seem to feed themselves. As compared to a nation that has no resources like Singapore, which has a booming economy. For all you that love socialism, why don't you compare those two? Anyway, all that aside. So let's look at this, guys. Venezuela is a potential base to launch from for an attack. I have said for a long time, my biggest concern about an EMP would be if it came from the south because of plausible deniability. It could be anybody doing it. It could be Iran. It could be North Korea. Yeah, I think Iran actually does have systems. It could be China. It could be Russia. Who was it? Who did it? They could do it from offshore. And the plausible deniability would be out through. Who are we going to do? Or is the United States going to retaliate by attacking China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea? Really? Wow. Maybe. Because the consequences to us will be so dire, we might just lash out at the whole world. People don't really appreciate sometimes that an EMP attack can be worse than full-scale nuclear war in terms of total consequences. Because full-scale nuclear war takes out cities and an area downrange, which the fallout falls in. Of course, there's a nuclear winter, but forget nuclear winter for a moment at least. The immediate consequences, or at least over a year, temperature, climate change aside, isn't as bad as losing the entire power grid. Of course, if you had a full-scale nuclear war, you're going to lose power grid anyway. But if you can ignore that part, loss of the power grid is a loss of 9 out of 10 people in a year, optimistically. That's by the Congressional EMP Task Force estimate, which I've challenged to one of the key participants in the EMP Task Force, Dr. Peter Vincent Pry, and he agrees with me that that's a very optimistic assessment, especially when you take into account things they fail to take into account, like the number of farmers who aren't even growing food to feed themselves with anymore. They're just growing market food. And when you take into account the spent fuel rod pools at the nuclear power plants and just what the ramifications of those going to meltdown means. I'm not talking about the reactors. I'm ignoring the reactors. Everybody thinks it's the reactors. Yeah, the reactors are still the problem they've always been. There's a bigger problem. The spent fuel rod pools are a bigger problem. Something most people never even thought about. Anyway, yeehaw. So this is why I'll get concerned about an EMP attack from the south. It could really do our country in badly. It can be done with plausible deniability, considering that we're really poking the bear and the dragon right now. The bear and the dragon really don't like us, and North Korea really don't like us, and they all feel threatened and unstable by us, apparently, according to them, whether it's true or not. And if you're a nation, if you're China, and if you really want to take Taiwan, you figure you're going to have to do America if you do it, you might just want to get America out of your way. And in fact, you might set it up in such a way that it'll look like some other country did it. You ever watch James Bond movie, especially all those evil Dr. Nose and whatever else, all the little evil power mongers who would try to stage a world war and blame it on the other side because they think they're going to gain something. Well, you know, we might be living in a Dr. no James Bond world. Considering, hey, one of the key MI6 guys is Dr. Richard, what's that guy's name? I ain't going to look for that, but anyway, I mentioned it the other night. Jeez, guys, it's just getting weird. It's getting weirder and weirder. Let's look at this guy. So this is why I worry about the Venezuela situation. You've really got to keep an eye on it. Oh yeah, and top it all off to make it even more interesting was that Stacy Savicki, a friend of mine, had a vision. And in her vision, she saw Jesus Christ. So, you don't believe in that stuff. Okay, then just fast forward to tape here a little bit of this video. But in her vision, she saw an EMP event. She didn't even know what an EMP was. This is a girl who's a farm girl, good farm girl, really knows Homestead really well. And she works on a dairy for a day job, has an immense market garden. Really smart girl, but she didn't know what an EMP was. And she had this vision about an EMP attack. And of all things, her vision was it came from 2 missiles coming out of where? Offshore, actually, from Venezuela. Not right out of, but offshore. The total, complete, most deniable top watch you could expect. And that's exactly what she dreamed. And she calls me up when she sees my videos, asking me about this stuff. It's like, really? You dreamed that? Wow, you had a dream. This was your dream? This is something like insider military experts, would ponder, and not even the mundane ones, only the really bright ones. Holy smoke. Yeah, I know military analysts, okay? They're not all bright, some are. They all think they're brilliant. All right, so let's look at this, guys. Let's look at some other things going on in the world right now. Vis-a-vis Iran. Just so happens, as I said, their biggest warship sunk in flames. Their biggest military ship. Some think this is kind of a going away message from Bibi Netanyahu, the former, or actually still is Prime Minister of Israel, outgoing Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. A lot of people think he's been behind this huge, he had the Tehran oil refinery fire. So this is the 680-foot vessel that sunk. Again, I think this may have been a cargo ship at one time. It belonged to the military, though. 680-foot vessel, big vessel. 33 people suffered injuries. They were evacuated, but 33 still suffered injuries. So there were people on the ship when it caught fire quite a bit. It was in port. That picture shows it like it's out at sea. No, it was in port, apparently. It's a floating port. Is that the port? Maybe this is the shore, but that looks like, I don't know what this picture there is. But in any event, there you go, my friends. So let's check this out. We've got one more article over here. Bing. Massive blaze breaks out of oil refinery near Tehran, which is the capital of Iran. And same day, guys, same day, the Tangoyan Petrochemical Company. Wow, Tangoyan Petrochemical Company. This thing was a huge, huge fire. And they had to send in 10 ambulances. So what's behind this? There's been all these explosions going on in Iran, continuous explosions going on. Now to have 2 events in the same day is, shall we say, somewhat interesting. Somewhat interesting. What is really cooking? What is going on here? Guys, we're getting extremely unstable. As you know, but hey, here's a potential incoming coalition in Israel. They're saying there will be several first if they can manage to set in this Lapid Bennett government. And they say if. So there's still a lot of uncertainty there. They say there will be many first in this government. Will this government still react the same way to Iran as did Benjamin Netanyahu? Will it be less? Will it be more? We don't know. We just don't know yet how it's going to be reacted. But you still have the facts of the matter are the same. Israel's the same country it was before and after. It may have a little bit different outlook in some areas, but still, Israel, Haifa, and Tel Aviv. You take them out, 2 devices, all of Israel's gone, at least Jewish Israel. Palestine will still survive. So they're extremely vulnerable. So that may be why they would have their, be so much on alert vis-a-vis Iran. Maybe. As we know, in the Netanyahu, they claim that if we went back to the agreement we had previously with Iran, that they would attack, that they would not support the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. That's what Netanyahu said. So what's going on here? Well, we do have Saeed Katzenbadi saying that Iran has a constant presence in international waters. He's trying to get people to ignore what's going on. I warn people they should not make messy calculations. Those who live in glass houses should be cautious, he says. So he's, justifying the ships that's going to Venezuela. Anyway, my friends, so we live in interesting times. I'm going to close that article. It's not just China. It's not just Russia. A lot of stuff's going on vis-a-vis Russia. Russia around the United Kingdom. Got Russian military vessels are basically just circling the entire United Kingdom. United Kingdom is all up in the air over that. Russia is battling a lot of sabers right now. But so are we. So is China. So and Japan is beginning to make out like they would defend Taiwan. Australia's hinted at it, but Australia's a little bit far away. Japan's got a lot more stake. They also are claiming islands. And Japan probably figures, hey, if they take Taiwan, we're next. Well, Australia's kind of figuring the same thing. Because, that's the way it was in the days back in the 30s. Oh, well, we'll just let them take that country. They just want that's all they want. Nope, then take them up. Whoop, no, just take this and up, whoop. I mean, once these guys get started, the history is they fight up and don't stop. Xi Jinping. Well, Xi Jinping just came out and says, hey, he wants to make China a more lovable country. Well, Xi Jinping, if you're serious about that, quit being so belligerent. People might buy what you're saying. If you can honestly not be so belligerent with others, other nations, how about your own people? How about treating the Uyghurs better? How about treating the Tibetans better, huh? How about quit kicking sand in India's face in the Himalayas? How about that? How about backing off and letting the Philippine fishermen fish on their atolls and within their exclusive economic zone? Huh? Can you do that? That would be making China a more lovable nation. Did you listen to my previous video, Mr. Xi Jinping? Maybe you did. Maybe sure you come from that. Oh, no, don't never listen. Hey, I say if there's 1 in 3.4 billion chance, which is the population of China, it's worth me putting that out, guys. All right. The chances might be mightily slim to none, but if it's even the slightest hope, they could reach through to somebody and get them to start changing their ways, yeah, it might be worth it. Because the alternative may be a full-blown war and utter destruction, which we can't afford that, guys. We got to learn to get along. When I said earlier that I try to bring hope to all this stuff. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. I do believe in the power of prayer. I also believe that sometime prophecy will come about. I don't know when, but and I also know what the travails will be before then. It looks like we are living, in the eyes of many in the end times. Of course, we've always had to pray just to think that for a couple of thousand years now. So it's hard to say. I'll tell you what we can say. The world is in extreme tension right now, internationally and domestically. The economy is in tatters. So how you prepare really matters. Get ready, guys. Be ready. Prepare for the worst and hope and pray for the best. If we can have good times ahead. If we could just get a hold of ourselves, we could have good times ahead. The problem is how we act and react. We in other countries, people of other countries, people. Somehow, we got to quit letting the governments lead us around by the noses. That applies to all of us. All right, friends. Well, that I'm going to say, get ready. Prep in every way you can. Yeah, I've done videos of going to the big box stores. I've done that. 2 videos. One big box store. Showed you what I got. Said go do it. I showed you how to eat free from the weeds and the trees. I showed you how to garden. Yeah, if you want to garden, the best source of seeds, heirloom seeds, True Leaf Market. Links below. Check it out. All right, I beat on this enough, guys. I've shown you many ways that you can also go to prepwithgreg.com because a lot of you, that's going to be your best way to get ready. Call it high, the rappers. And so what? Okay, if these things never happen, oh, great, these things will never happen. Okay, maybe it won't. I hope they don't. I pray they don't. But the good thing is, if you got all these preps and the stuff lasts 25 years with inflation where you're going to have a heck of a good investment sitting in your shelves. You can say, wow, this is awesome. I'm glad I bought this stuff when it was cheap. Guys, think about it. All right. I wish everybody the best. Have an awesome weekend. And with all that, I'm going to say good night, goodbye.